Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know who it is. It's Ron C. This is the guy with the most, bringing you Side Bus Social. Thanks for coming in. Make sure you click right down there, subscribe. Notifications will come right to you. We talk about all the things that you want to know, all the things that interest you when it comes on this real world. What does it include for you? What does it mean for you? Today, we're going to talk with a good, special friend of mine. He's actually a youth coach, basketball coach. He does a lot of things for the community and whatnot. Let me bring him on real quick. Percy Pearson, doing the thing. Glad to have him on to talk about today's topic. What up, Percy? You there, man? You there, big boss?
What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing there, big boss? How's it been, man? Just tell the folks here. Yeah, just tell the folks here everything that's going on so far. You know what you've been doing. You're still in the community stuff, right? Helping the kids, teaching them sports and all that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, and everything. Now, personally, me, I should go back, kind of ways, you know what I mean? But I was just telling, even in the thing we were talking about was, man, we doing a lot of Facebooking, but we ain't talked really in years. We used to do like every week be hooping, talk about messy stuff, so.
Yes,
crazy. So, yeah, we'll jump right into the topic. What it is actually, we're going to talk about what is, of course, the most hot thing right now, which is actually the riots. Have you seen those? Heard about the riots from the Trump supporters, the National Plaza, breaking stuff and going in and doing an amateur rioting, what a lot of black people would say, but it's still rioting nonetheless.
Right, yeah.
For sure.
I've seen it all, bro.
Well, what was you thinking when you saw that, man? Because I know I was like flabbergasted, but not really. What'd you think about all that? That's crazy.
So my thoughts on it was, like Farrakhan said, chickens done come home to roost. America showed its hand.
Yeah.
America showed its hand.
Yes, sir.
Bigots, the double talkers,
mm-hmm.
the people that keep coming up with excuses to deny the inevitable.
Yep.
It caught up to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The privilege all came out.
Mm-hmm.
Full display. They can't hide it now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for saying this, but I'm like, thank you you guys for doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. No, and hear me out why I say this. This is why I say, hear me out why I say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be called a nigger in my face than behind my back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The people that are being upfront and flagrant with it, you done helped us out.
Absolutely. That's true.
You done spoke what we've been speaking, but your actions went into it to show how bad, especially the law enforcement.
You got you. Yep.
Law enforcement, you've been exposed. You've been exposed.
All the way. The thing that threw me off so much, it's weird to talk about it, from a standpoint of fantastical avenue, maniacal kind of avenue. But 4 years ago, once Trump was elected, I had to actually force myself. I said all this negative stuff, and that's all I could see. But I literally had to sit there in my own mind and kind of have a conference with myself and say, look, guess what? At best case, I think he's going to be a know-nothing president because I'm being too pessimistic. I'm being too, I think, almost psychotic and over-assuming. He's not going to, render the racist baiters. He's not going to stir and really show the real mindset and the mentality of, the majority of the public. He's just going to do nothing. He's going to be in and just not saying he's not going to destroy it. And everything, when I had that small notion after he won, and you see it now, came to fruition. Like everything. Like as much as I tried to be as optimistic as possible and say that it's not going to happen, that's exactly what happened to the fullest. So it's crazy. It throws me off. Like I can't believe in this world 2020, or sorry, 2016 at the time, now 2020, that this is really the world we live in. It's crazy to me.
I just do. My dad always prepared me for this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to prepare my mind back when, living in Utah, you got to. You're a brother living in Utah, you have to you have to adjust your mindset. Okay, this is how they think about it. This is how they feel about it. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to play their game, but you have to find a way to live using their game against them, so they can't use it on you.
I agree.
And so,
I agree fully, completely. Fully.
Some stuff
we'll jump. So we'll jump right into actually the discussion question, though. The discussion question actually is, how was this riot treated differently than the BLM quote unquote riot / protests in so much regards? Was a big, huge contradiction put on blast, or it were we justified, so much? Because bottom line is, what I'm seeing is, it kind of seems like the same scenario, only they're now targeting the state building, the government building itself. Well, we were, private rioters on the streets, protesters, I should say rioters, protesters on the street in the community, going to stable, right, public places that didn't allow that facilitation of protesting. Yet, it does seem like the treatment of it from the government itself was not the
same. Okay, let me break it down to you. All the protesting that BLM did and the reaction to it was, they're trying to take our amendment. That was their version of segregation. That was their version of saying, you have rights, but you don't have a voice. Be happy with what you do. Be happy with what we give you. We're policing you. We're going to shoot you if you keep talking. We're going to murder you. We're going to pepper spray you to shut you up because we don't care. Your opinion don't matter. Your life doesn't matter. That's what it exposed. So what you saw with the Trump supporter people going up in there doing what they doing, you see law enforcement letting a man running from them. You got one dude that shot the lady because guess what? He was trying to kill him. She was trying to kill him. He feared for his life and he shot her. And so what it showed me and what it showed America is, they're happy playing two different sides of the fences. It exposed them. Like I said, it exposed them. It's Black Lives Matter with no guns, and y'all are still shooting us with hoses and rubber bullets and all this. And guess what? Them guys are marching to the Capitals with handguns and stuff, and ain't nobody checking them. Nobody checking this. Nobody was checking their IDs. Nobody was checking this, anything. They was making this everything. I was so glad for this year. It's like, good. You guys are making it easy. You guys are making it easy. Like the police, no, we done dealing with y'all. Because what they insinuated now is retaliation is a must.
Absolutely.
Retaliation. That's you're gonna get people now. You done stirred up people that like, hey, your law enforcement officers already showed they hand who they're targeting. Now people gonna start defending themselves and doing it again. Like they're gonna start pulling up on cops and shooting them.
Absolutely, it's great. It's when the thing about what's crazy is you brought up Utah a while ago. That's where we met. That's where we kind of bonded our friendship and all that kind of stuff. But as much as you would think, it's crazy in Utah, it's just one side. It's very much like that. I mean, the Utahns aren't, in my opinion, ain't the worst. I mean, there's a lot worse areas to be, brothers to be the minority at, but at the same time. But I still have a lot of, friends and contacts from Utah, and they have, it's a Republican state, it's a conservative state. So of course they do back conservatism. It surprises me how much they, back Trump though. That really shocks me, but a lot of them do. And the one thing I've always had to say, through my Facebook, messaging or whatnot is you keep telling them that it's not the same. We aren't treated the same. And they continually have these kind of one-sided backwards around the way arguments where saying that almost like it's our fault or we're misinterpreting what's going on. And they try to justify so many different things. I know there was one lady I had, a friend of mine, sent out, I think one white guy got killed by a police officer. I saw one clip. And then I think I shot at her like almost 10 or 15 or 20 clips, of the same exact incident, pretty much detail for detail, where the black people ended up dead. And I say, I'm not going to say in any regards, any kind of measurement to say, okay, that white guy got killed, his life wasn't, valuable enough, for his incident wasn't tragic. But at the same time, don't try to compare realistically, because I just sent you 15 clips for a population that only consumes 12% of the entire U.S. population. You showed me one clip. And so right there, that proves my point. You know what I mean? Don't say that the reasoning is only and simply because it just happened to be a bad coincidence. They're only getting vigilantes. They're only getting criminals and only in criminal elements. That's not something you can say. It is a bias, it is a stereotype. It is racial profiling. And that's something that has to be understood. That's all I say. It's got to be understood. Stop trying to give me that rationale that it's the same, because it's not. We're not treated the same. We can't be.
You got to remember, man, when you're talking to people that are doing the bigot and double talk and stuff, you got to come at them on a whole different level of, do you guys say this shit to rape victims?
Wow. True.
Do you say that shit to rape victims? Do you say that shit to kids that are getting molested? Do you say that shit to women that are getting beaten by their husbands?
True.
Because you guys seem to only want to change the narrative when it comes to black men and women.
Gotcha.
People of color, then everything gets thrown into the pot. Abuse gets thrown out the window, all that extra stuff. But because it's dehumanizing us.
Yeah, and that's when they come up with the arguments. That's bottom line when they come up with the arguments. You ever notice that?
Exactly.
It's all of a sudden when we talk, and now we're saying something that this is unjust. Okay, now you're talking about how it's not right and white lives matter and blue lives matter and all that kind of stuff. How come that never comes up until we say something? Ever?
When you deal with narcissism. You're dealing with people that have an agenda and don't want to admit their shit. They will come up with stuff.
Wow.
Prime example. They talk about domestic violence.
Yeah.
But they never look at or talk to the spouses of police officers that beat their women.
True.
They never talk about law enforcement shit. Okay.
True.
They justify us being shot by the police and and it's like, okay, so how are they taking child molesters in? Unscathed, unbeaten, without fear. And they molested a child.
Murderers, rapists, burglars.
You don't go shooting. I don't see you guys shooting people that are drunk drivers.
True.
I don't see y'all fearing for your life because they just killed somebody in an accident.
You're
running up on people that did all these school shootings, and they're heavily armed.
The joke I saw one time was Jeffrey Dahmer. He actually ate people.
Right.
He actually ate people.
And y'all wasn't terrified running up on him. But you get officers that come up with those narratives, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're showing their hands. They're running out of stuff they say and use to hide their shit. Now it's like, you got to come out and just say it. You full blown. Maybe some of you guys are inadvertent bigots and racists.
True.
Because there's some men that are womanizers that don't mean to be, but that are.
Yeah.
There's dudes that love women, but just don't want to commit to them.
Don't want to commit. Absolutely.
Right. Because they just, hey, I like variety, you know? It is what it is. It's like it's owning yourself. It's owning yourself.
You're not seeing it, and you don't know your bigotry, maybe your biases. Like I said, you don't know you're actually profiling because it's never been a thing. And that's one thing I can't lie. Once again, not to ever throw Utah under the bus, because obviously I had really a lot of great times in Utah mostly, but you can see just a lot of perspectives were like that. You know what I mean? You guys, a lot of comments people made with, they thought they were cool. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, this is, of course, I left a little while ago, but you remember those kids that, ran around in Klans uniforms in high school, for Halloween or something like that. You remember that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And realistically, it's kind of funny that if you're don't have that kind of bigotry in it, I don't understand why you would do or racism in. Why would you do the exact thing that is offensive to a minority? That's
because there's no minorities there. There's no minorities, 2 or 3 in school, and most of them are half.
Yeah,
their moms are white, dad's black, and the kids, it don't even go over their head that you do that shit in the South.
It's over. It's over.
Yeah, you getting shot on the stage. It's where you're at. It's like where you're at. They know better. Like I just left Dallas last week, for my son's All-American game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting over there telling people like, yo, man, there's a difference between the South, Midwest, the West Coast, East Coast, up north. Like it's different.
Gotcha.
Point blank period. It's different.
Absolutely.
It's different.
It's crazy.
Them brothers in the South have to deal with shit that I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
I know it's 10 times worse down there. 10 times worse.
Whew.
But you come out here and it's like they're still learning how to deal with us and talk to us. And
still, which is kind of crazy in this day and time, but they are. I have one of my best friends. He's a brother, but he grew up in Salt Lake or whatnot. But yeah, he got transferred because he got a good job out to I think it was Tallahassee. It was Tallahassee or Kentucky, one of them. And it was the biggest culture clash for him. You know what I mean? Because, he was born in Santa Barbara, raised there for the first 10 years, then, Utah for the rest of like 30. And then here he goes to a blatantly over the top, prejudiced, racist, straight out, will call a dude a boy to his face ass place. And he had to come back. He's like, look, I didn't have a job when I came back, but I quit the one I had and I came right back here because I couldn't even deal with it. I could not at all deal with the outright racism out there, you know what I mean? And, all that kind of stuff. And he said, I had a little bit better opportunity out there, but I can't deal with it. I don't know that stuff, you know what I mean? To go to somebody, when you go to a place where mostly everywhere you go is accepting of a brother, a lot of Caucasian, but you have 1, 2 brothers and, when they see them, they welcome them. To a place where they're pretty much chastised and disrespected in any regard. Yeah, of course. You're like, nah, it's all good, but that's the world. It's crazy right now. So it's all good.